Hi there, Sean Miller here, and in this video I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about email deliverability when it comes to 2025 and especially going into 2026. We've got Q4 around the corner. I'm going to demystify email deliverability. It's actually quite simple to get your email reputation within Klaviyo to around 90% and get opens to 60 to 70% consistently. This is what we do for all of our brands. There's a lot of information online that make it seem really, really complicated. And I think a lot of that is to try and make the person giving the advice seem really, really smart and then to make you think you need to work with them. So that's not my intention here. But any brand owner, ecom brand owner, or email marketer worth their salt needs to know how to get your email reputation and your email deliverability as high as possible because everything else is in vain if we don't get this right. So this is something a great email agency should be doing weekly. And if you're a brand owner doing it in-house with a marketing manager, again, you should just be checking email deliverability on a weekly basis, especially a monthly basis. But there are a few different pitfalls that you can fall into that are going to really, really hurt deliverability. And there's some really easy wins that you can implement to get things back on track. And if you get consistent engagement, consistently people more opening your emails on a more regular basis, you're going to make more money in the long run. And also you're going to get more data to let you know what's working and what's not working. So let me go through it. Email deliverability is definitely not the sexy part of email marketing. And if you're new here, by the way, I am referring to email marketing specifically for e-commerce brands, direct to consumer e-commerce brands. It's a slightly different approach if you're doing, let's say, cold email at scale for sales, for your business, more B2B kind of cold emailing. If you have questions around that, there's plenty of great advice online. But this is more about email marketing within Klaviyo for direct to consumer e-commerce brands. So as I said, it's definitely not the sexy part of email marketing, but if you get this wrong, everything else falls apart. If your emails aren't even reaching the inbox, it doesn't matter how clever your creative is, you're invisible and missing a chance to make more revenue. So this video is about the hidden landmines that tank deliverability, how to avoid them, and I'll show you a simple system we use with our 7 and 8 figure brands to stay out of spam and consistently hit 40 to 60% open rates. I'm actually going to share with you how we get like to 70% open rates as well. So part one is deliverability. Let me just sort of decode what deliverability actually means. Deliverability is basically your credit score as a sender, like your sender reputation with the inboxes. So essentially, high credit score, high deliverability score means you're hitting the inbox, you're hitting the primary tab. Mediocre score means you're possibly copying a lot of promotions tabs as well, and that's going to sometimes inflate your opens and be misleading. And if you have a low deliverability score, you're going to be in the spam more often than not. Inbox providers like Google, Yahoo, or Outlook, which is pretty much what all of your customers are going to be using, are trying to give users a good experience. So they simply reward engagement signals. So if people are opening, clicking, replying, or clicking through your emails, they're going to get low complaints, and essentially they're going to give the green light for you to continue sending emails and to land in the inbox because you're clearly sending something people want to receive. Think of it this way, if 7 out of 10 people ignore your emails, why would Gmail keep showing them front of center? Like, it's just not within their interest. It would mean like they're delivering a bad product, they're delivering a bad service on their end. So they've got an algorithm to make sure that the customer is getting a good experience, which is a good thing. So part two of this, 2025 landmines that you can't ignore from my observations at the moment. So this is tried and tested. This is nothing new, but it's just as important in 2025 as it was last year and the year before. Authentication, if it's not set up properly, everything else is downhill. So you need SPF records, you need DKIM records, and you need DMARC records. These are all required. Gmail, Yahoo now mandate DMARC plus a one-click unsubscribe for bulk senders. So I'll get into that in a second. But if you don't have these, your campaigns are quietly going to get clipped and they're going to end up in spam or promotions. Now, if you're using Klaviyo, they've made it really, really easy now. So I don't know wherever your sender domain is set up, usually like GoDaddy or something of the equivalent. You can go through the Klaviyo, set up your own sender domain process at this stage. It'll give you the DMARC, the SPF, and the DKIM records, and you can add things in. If you're using a bit more of a rogue domain provider and Klaviyo doesn't have an option, because I know they have two options for you. One where you add in sender domains and sender custom name senders, I think that's the word. If not, you can go to dkim and dmark and spfgenerator.com. They'll generate one and you can add those simply into your inbox. But for the most part, for 95% of the time, you should just be using the Klaviyo process, but you need to create your own branded sender domain. So not be using your Gmail one, for example, because that's also going to hurt your business. You don't want to be using that. You want to have a branded subdomain like hello dot whatever brand is dot uh, Gymshark or hello emails at gymshark.com, something like that. And this keeps your main domain safe and boosts reputation. So this just becomes your marketing subdomain as well. So again, you can set up all of this through Klaviyo and whatever your uh, domain provider is. It's really, really simple. I'm not going to do a tutorial here, but you need to make sure you've got the SPF, the DKIM, and the DMARC all in place. And Klaviyo should really give you green ticks if that's all in place. That's really, really easy. You also want to make sure you've got a one-click unsubscribe link. So this is just one of our brands here. Let me zoom in. Yada, yada, yada. This is what it should look like in Klaviyo. You can actually get a dynamic field here. If you no longer like to receive these emails, click unsubscribe. Should be super obvious. Otherwise, you're going to get yourself in trouble. So just make sure this is in place as well. Okay. Number 4, poor list hygiene. Let me space this down because I'm a bit OCD. There we go. Poor list hygiene. So if you still think sending to people who haven't, if you're still sending to people who haven't opened their emails within 6 months, that's going to be killing your score. So again, I follow all of the email marketers on LinkedIn. I contribute to that. I've got around 8,000 followers on LinkedIn. I post every day. So I share some insights there as well. And again, this is something a lot of email marketers like to do is they like to talk about segmentation like it's the secret sauce. And then you, the brand owner, are oftentimes feeling like there's more that you could be doing. So again, they like to use fancy language and say you need to be sending to all of these various different segments, which, segmentation is true. I would say if you want to get fancy with your segmentation, purchase history and zero party data, so any data you collect in the sign up form, that can really be helpful to help you understand intent and preference and angles to lean into. So that data is really good. Beyond that, 95% of the time, you just need to be sending to various different engaged segments. If you're sending to the whole list at the moment, you're going to be cooking yourself, absolutely cooking yourself. So what you really want to be doing is checking out what segments you're sending let's say you're sending 3 campaigns a week. You need to be looking at what segments you're sending those campaigns to on a regular basis. In an ideal world, you want to be able to send to a 90 or 120-day engaged segment and get 50 to 60% open rates. If you're doing that, you're in a really, really cool place. And then occasionally you can open up the segment that you're sending to and then try and then compress it down again and get as much. Imagine if 90% of your whole list is in 100, or let's say a 90-day engaged segment. If your 90% of your whole list is in a 90-day engaged segment, you're doing better than, you're in the top 1% of brands. So unengaged contacts, though, are going to drag down your averages. So if you keep on sending to people who aren't opening your emails, it's going to drag down the average of people engaging with your emails that you're sending to. And again, that is going to be a red flag for the inbox providers. So you just really want to watch that. So that's a big one. Another key one, and we'll get a bit in, I'm going to get a bit more into practical steps at the moment. I'm just going to give you the diagnosis right now on the problems, then I'm going to give you the next steps, so don't stress about that. Another problem is template overload. So if every email is looking like a cookie cutter sales blast, engagement is going to plummet. So I've put in brackets there, creative variation. This is a big one. So if we did this with a big skincare brand about a month ago. They were saying like email's doing great revenue for them, but we never want to sit on our laurels. And if you're a brand owner right now, you want to look for agencies that don't sit on their laurels and are always proactive. So we flagged the fact that we still weren't entirely happy with the clicks and the engagement in the emails. Deliverability was fairly decent at this point. And one of the things that we decided to do is like a lot of our emails are looking and feeling the same. Now, I think this is a truth a lot of email marketers don't want to accept. I see a lot of content out there where they're saying creative variation, sexy emails don't matter as much, and I just call total bullshit. Maybe that's just our unique flavor. My last video I said I've created a video on like how to create editorial style emails. So we're very, very big on creative, on taste, on aesthetic, but for good reason, because simply said, if you're sending really interesting emails visually, people look by with their eyes. If you're sending really, really interesting emails visually, people are going to naturally want to engage with them more. I'm sure if you have brands that you're signed up to which have a really, really cool emails, really great designs, you just open them. You might not even buy from them, but you just open from them. And you know what? That's not a bad thing, because if people, even if they aren't ready to purchase yet, are boosting your engagement there, it means your deliverability is going to get better. And then the people who do want to buy are going to be seeing your emails. So in general, if every email is looking the same, if there's creative fatigue there, if everything is just a template, we don't even use that word template or seed anymore. We hate the word template because it infers that every email should look the same. And we think, sure, you can have a signature style, but you always want to leave room for novelty, for variation and creativity in a sense. So variety and genuine value are essential. Otherwise, you're going to look like spam. So you can't be doing it. It needs to be look like it's branded, coming from a brand with personality, who's always doing different things. And I'm going to give you a good example of a brand who does this really, really well shortly. So let's get down to what we can actually do to improve things, the engagement reset protocol. So when you're in trouble, maybe your open rates have sunk into the 20s, here's how to rebuild your sender reputation. And by the way, if you go to Klaviyo and you're in the 40s or 50s, you're still in trouble, my friend. So all of this is appropriate for you. The OCD's kicking in again. Okay. So firstly, you just want to create simple engaged segments. If you're working with a great agency worth their salt, they should be doing this from day one. 14-day, a 30-day, a 60-day, a 90-day engaged list. I like a 120-day engaged list as well. So I'd create those 5 segments. The criteria for these segments is anyone who's opened or clicked within that window at least once. Really, really simple. You want to remove bounce emails and any hard subscribes from your list as well. Because if you keep on sending to people that have bounced, that is like kryptonite for your email deliverability. If like your bounce at like 2 or 3%, that's kryptonite. You just need to bin them, suppress them, and not worry about them for now. Like, they're not of interest. A really big email list with loads of bounces is just vanity. You want to be lean, and everyone on your list is actually a returning customer for the most part, or at least a really engaged customer. You want to pause everything except high intent flows right now. So like random rubbish flows, like birthday flows and things like that. I would just pause right now. Like anything that's not high intent. What I would deem as high intent is obviously the welcome flow, because that's one of the most high intent ones. Abandoned carts, because people are just about to purchase. Same for browse abandonment, they're engaging with products. And a really good post purchase. And again, I would look into your post purchase and make sure you're not sending really, really naff emails there. I would say like good upsells, good cross sales, real nice personal notes from the founder thanking people, updates on orders, emails people actually want to receive. Most people, that's an email for, that's a video for a different day, the post purchase. But these flows naturally get high engagement, so that's going to help build reputation. If you just stop sending campaigns, for example, I'm not suggesting that you do that, but just let your high intent flows cook with traffic coming in, you'd repair deliverability by like 50%, 60, 70% just by letting the flows do their work, and that reputation build itself by people coming into flows and receiving emails which are relevant for where they're at within the customer journey. So that's a real big one. As for your campaigns, if you probably still need to be sending campaigns right now. So what I recommend that you do is you send 3 campaigns a week, but only to a 14 to 30-day engaged list. If the 30-day engaged list is still cooking you and again 20 to 30% opens, I would shrink down to 14-day engaged segments. Yes, this is going to feel counterintuitive and make it feel like, well, this is going to hurt us, but ultimately, if you keep on marching down the direction of sending to everyone because you want sales, you're being really, really short-sighted, and you're going to do irreparable damage. So this is sometimes where you need to take a rest day from the gym or a rest week from the gym, because you're overtrained like massively, and just keeping on lifting is only going to push you further into an overtrained hole. You need rest. You need to rebalance the nervous system. You need to rebalance your deliverability system, and it won't take long. So yes, it's going to feel counterintuitive. You obviously want to send more when you're in trouble to sort of like get out of it, but you don't want to be doing that. High engagement density is the only way to prove to Gmail you deserve their inbox and you deserve visibility. Then what you want to do, so I would do that for a week or 2. Then I would expand gradually. So once the 14-day segment consistently hits 50% opens, and I would make sure that you're drilling that for 7 to 14 days, then I would open to a 30, or if 30 is where you started, to let's say a 45-day engaged segment. And the same logic, when the 30 or 45-day engaged segment holds above 50% open rates, I would then move to a 60 or 90-day engaged segment. Then I'd slowly scale up until your 90-day engaged segment becomes your base list. And then you could even go to 120 days. There's nothing wrong with the occasional reactivation attempt. Like for most of our brands, where their deliverability scores anywhere from 85 to 95, and some of them are 80. Like I think a lot of agencies will lie and say all of our brands are at like a 99 engaged, 99% deliverability score. It's not necessary, nor is it true. And if people are lying, like they're just full of shit. Excuse my French on this one, because sometimes you do want to reactivate, sometimes you do want to open the list. I love opening the full list when we're doing teasers for new drops. Obviously, any kind of new drop, big sales events, anything, you know, there are times where you do want to like sort of reactivate. Another great thing I like to do is always just create an engaged list of non-purchasers and an unengaged list of non-purchasers. And in the early days, I actually like to hit those guys with offers to try and get them to become customers, especially to the engaged non-purchaser list. And the amount of brands I audit where their engaged non-purchaser list is like 70% of their email list, you need to be like really thinking about how to reactivate those guys with interesting offers to get them engaged, get them purchasing. And once people have your products, they're going to be way more likely to engage with your emails and purchase again. But here's the thing. So once a month, center the whole list with a simple curiosity-driven subject line, something that's a real hook or a great offer. So I would resend the welcome offer or repackage the welcome offer. It's a great way to test offers as well. Anyone who reopens and re-enters your engaged segment is great. Everyone else, don't hammer them. Let them go. Prune. So what I would say is this unengaged, I would do a list cleaning with people who have unengaged after doing this once a month. Just suppress them, just prune them. It's otherwise it's just a vanity. It's going to inflate your Klaviyo bill, which is unnecessary. So actually you're going to be losing money. So I would just start to suppress them. Later down the line, you can, once you've got, you know, your 3 extra revenue and your deliverability scores at 95%. If you've got a suppressed 15,000 email subscribers, you can maybe try and bring 5 back and then do a reactivation plan. But that's a more advanced technique. And to be perfectly honest, I think it's healthier 9 times out of 10 to just let them go, make sure acquisition's cooking, have a high sign up form, a high converting welcome flow, and then just get them into a great campaign plan with a great sender reputation. You're probably way better off doing that than trying to like get back with an X, which is what I would say is a lot of your suppressed and what will be your suppressed email list. So part 4, the content side, and this is something nobody talks about within their deliverability videos, but this is key. It's not just technical. The single biggest factor in deliverability is whether or not people actually enjoy opening your emails, because you can do everything that I've said, but then if you start sending really boring, terrible emails that people don't enjoy reading, you're not going to have resonance with your audience. Like, let's say you're watching a TV ad and it's just a rubbish TV ad, you check out, you disassociate, you go elsewhere. This has been a principle in advertising for, you know, since the beginning of time. So this is key. So variety matters, content pillars. Not every send has to be a discount. That's not the only way to engage your audience. You want to mix in storytelling, education, UGC, insights, edits. I say edits, so like I like brands where they do like the August edit or like you know, things of that nature, or like what's happened this month, and have really cool flowing emails where they tell a story about what's happened. Like that's interesting. Plain text emails, there's so much variation you can have with plain text emails. Get creative. Like we're in a dorm where plain text emails, we're in an era where plain text emails are a great part of the strategy. But then the question is like, how creative can you be with those plain text emails? And that's a video again for a different day. Value per open. So if people feel rewarded, entertained, informed, inspired, they're going to keep on opening. So the biggest question you need to ask yourself is, why would people sign up to your email program? If you're a supplement brand, for example, just like thinking off the cuff, it's because people want to get health insights. They want to be inspired to elevate their well-being mentally, physically, their appearance, etc. So like information and insights which is going to compound on that idea, that goal, and help alleviate pains and inspire people. That's what people want for the most part. If you sign up to a fashion brand, they want to see beautiful outfits, good looking models, really cool shots, so people are inspired to aesthetically improve their fashion game and essentially put clothes in front of people that are going to be aspirational. So know why people sign up to your brand's email program and send context that way. Like first principles, like what does a customer want? from a brand like yours, and why would they stay engaged with your emails? Like, just simplify things, answer those questions, come up with content pillars and cycle through them, and be creative with your designs and your the aesthetic within your emails, and you're going to go a long way. And you know, get creative with this. Plain text emails here and there as well feels personal, breaks the monotony, and often boosts engagement massively. Sometimes we'll like have 60% opens with our brands, but we send a plain text email, get 85%. It's like, that is just like money in the bank for your sender reputation. The more dopamine people get from your brand's emails, the more likely it is they're going to train Gmail that you belong in their inbox. So part 5, the payoff. We've had brands come to us stuck in spam with 20-25% open rates, and 6 weeks later, using this protocol, they're hitting 55 to 60% open rates. And that's with no additional discounting, same list, same offer. The difference was deliverability. So this is just one of our brands here who came on last month. Within 12%, we've already taken up their score by 12%. So if you do that over, 3 or 4 months, you can like take a really broken email deliverability score and get it to like really high. And this is like one of our brand's open rates at the moment, just to prove. Like, I'm not going to take you through loads of Klaviyo accounts because I think that's boring, but 60, 75, 59, 56, 69, 64. So this is what it looks like when we're then just testing with opening things up as well, opening things up to broader segments. So sometimes we'll cycle between 30, 60, and 90 days with our brands, but regardless of our sends, we're always predictably getting 50% open rates plus. So more opens, more eyes, more revenue. Simple as that. Deliverability should be your bread and butter. You should know what to do when things are in trouble, and you should know how to get your brand into deliverability rehab really quickly. Just follow all of these steps, you'll get there in no time. So my final thought is, most people overcomplicate deliverability or ignore it until it's too late. But you just get the setup right, respect your list, and focus on values per open, which is just sending good content. You're going to avoid 90% of the landmines. So don't worry, it's not really complicated. You don't have to have like a coding degree to get deliverability right. If you want me to break down the exact deliverability checklist we use at Oroseed of all our clients, drop a comment below and I'll make sure I upload it. And if you want the internet's best email marketing audit, most email marketing audits are terrible. Every client that I've ever given an email marketing audit for, and sometimes I've been competing against like 10 other agencies, always say your audit is head and shoulders like 10 times better than everyone else has said. It's because I spend like 6 hours really getting into the weeds, looking at your Klaviyo account. Let me know, booking a call on the link below, and what we'll do is we'll give you a free audit of your account. As I said, it is the best audit that you can possibly get online at the moment. I'll also mock you up some free email creative as well, which speaks to the sending good content. We'll show you how we can improve the styling structure of your email. We'll send that all over as well. We'll send that all over for you to look at your own time. If you really like what you receive from us, we can talk about potentially working together. But it's a real great offer. It's no pressure there, and all of the information is in the bio below. So that's it for now. If you've got any questions, let us know in the comments and I'll create a video around it. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.